Okay, well, okay. Welcome to another episode of Digital Dating with Anonymous Andrew. My name is Anonymous Andrew. And tonight I have a podcast host, a relationship coach, and a judgment-free zone facilitator. And her name is Nikki Corbett. Did I
Good
pronounce that
job.
right? All right.
Yeah.
Nikki, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really happy to be here.
If the audience only knew what it took us to get to this point. Okay. So
Seriously.
So, Nikki, tell me, what is a judgment-free zone facilitator?
So, one of the things that I am building with the Scarlet Edit is a community. And within that community, I have I am opening it up to women who have been in all different types of relationships where they have felt some sort of shame or stigmatized in any way, or felt that because of a past decision they are not worthy of the love that they really desire and really want for themselves. And so by using judgment free zone, it's basically like, you are welcome here. Every woman is welcome here. I don't care what decisions you made in the past. I don't care about any of those things. I want you to feel that you can come and connect with other people who have had similar journeys. I want you to feel that you can share your story without people judging you. So as the leader, I guess, or as the builder of the community, that's
Facilitator.
where the facilitator came in. Yes.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
Just to clarify, it's women only.
Yeah, right now I feel like it makes the most sense to only have women in there. Now, not saying that there aren't men who have had, you know, this similar hurts or stories or shame or judgment placed upon them. But I do want to be mindful as it starts, that I want people to feel safe, and I
The-
just,
And
yeah.
the men could offset that balance. I get that. I totally get it. You put a couple of men in there, and you'd have to vet them. I get it. Okay, but
Yeah.
with that said, I have to tell you, a little bit. I told you before we started recording. My last relationship was filled with cheating and gaslighting, and it was, if just you and I, maybe one day we'll chat. I'll give you the full rundown, or go listen to the first couple of episodes of this whole podcast. It was so bad that I really was a shell of a man, and I looked for male communities where I could go, and I found them. There were a bunch of them. There was a couple on Discord. There was like this King community, and then there was another podcast guy that said, "Hey, come join. No judge, something like you, no judgment, just come on." And the more I listened, and the more I realized these were like red pill guys or big towel guys, or the guys that were like, "We don't need women anymore. Come with us, bros. We're gonna be
Oh.
bros together." And I'm like, "No, I want a woman."
Right, right.
You know,
Yeah.
I don't, not that it was a gay thing. It was just like, "Hey, come hang out with the bros." And
Mhm.
I wanted to learn what I did wrong, move on from it, and then maybe apply the errors of my ways to my new lifestyle. So hence the birth of this podcast. That's where I'm going with that. So I
Yeah.
bailed on the male community thing. It was just too toxic. They were bashing women. It's just not my thing.
I can relate to that in only like really one way, but I haven't joined a group that's bashing men, but I have had discovery calls with some women about, being potential guests on my show, and they're just like immediately just ripping men to shreds, and I'm like, "Oh, okay, that's not what my show is about." Like, I love men. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I love women.
So I
And
can relate to where you're at.
and the last woman tore me to pieces. She shredded me. She ripped my heart out, stomped on it, beat on it, and then continued, like, even after it was over and I did a no contact, she stalked me
Oh,
but
jeez.
yeah, it was horrible. But I don't hate women, and I feel that that was her disease. She had a personality disorder, and I have a background in mental health, so a little bit. So I kind of step back. I'm also in recovery, so I know that people carry these demons with them, and sometimes don't know about you don't meet them until a year or so into the relationship. Let's talk about you though. You're here to promote your podcast, I'm guessing, because you
Yeah.
just basically got off the ground, and her
Yeah.
podcast is called the Scarlet Edit. Tell me about that. How'd you come up with that name?
So funny. I came up with the name because I've been podcasting since 2022. I had a show that I just sunset at the beginning of July when I kicked this new one off. When I was working through kind of the nuts and bolts and the guts of all this new show, I had just really thought I would change the tagline of my old show. My old show was called Round Two, and it was talking about major life change, and it was really all over the board. So I was thinking of still calling it round two, but talking about it from a relationship perspective, and that, your last relationship doesn't define you and you can move on to the next one in a round two, if you will. So I was working with a copywriter she is so amazing. And so we got to talking and she said, well, what's the name of the new show? And I said, oh, I'm going to keep it round two. I said, but one of the things I want to do with you is come up with a tagline. She was like, no, 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 you got to change the name. Like we're starting from scratch. So we were workshopping some names and she was the one that plugged or put the name The Scarlet Letter back in my head. And cuz we were talking about, like my story with my affair. So she was like, "Well, what about the Scarlet Letter? Like, this is kind of the vibe I'm feeling, but you're putting a spin on it." So after I hung up that call, I got to thinking really, hard about it, and using ChatGPT, I kind of said, okay, look, like here's the copy for the show. Here's what my goals are. Here are the types of people I want to attract as listeners. Um, I like the idea of the Scarlet Letter, but I certainly don't want to just plagiarize somebody's,
Correct.
one of the most well-known books title. So we started workshopping more just other words, and edit was one of the ones that came up, and I got to thinking about it and I really liked it because I feel like edit is used in a very positive way, whether you're editing a book and getting it ready for release, whether you're editing your wardrobe. You see that a lot as the seasons change. Different brands will be like, "Ooh, the spring edit from J. Crew or whatever."
Yep.
And
Yep.
I like that. And people understand what that means. It's like, "Ooh, like it's new, it's fresh." So I felt that it played really well with my also vision of like saying, "Hey, like you can edit like the judgment that's on you. You can edit that out. You can edit the shame that society are placing on you for past decisions because you can continue to evolve and move forward into your life as the person that you want to be, and you can go out and find the love that you've always wanted and that you are absolutely still worthy of regardless of your past choices." So that's kind of how it all came to be.
I love it, and just the Scarlet Edit, and I just have to say this only because I just feel as if there could be some audience members on yours or my side that don't know what that means. So let's quickly
Mhm.
explain. The Scarlet Letter was a book, and then it became a movie too, didn't it?
I think so. I'm the worst
I
with
think,
movies, so
yeah, I think it
don't
became
quote
a
me on
movie.
that. Okay.
And a woman was caught having an affair, and she had to walk around with a letter on her blouse or skirt or something. I forget. I don't remember
Yeah. A for
honestly, I don't even
adulterer.
think I read.
A for adulteress. I think it was on I think it was on the top of her shirt.
Okay, A for adulteress, and she had to walk
Mhm.
around as a shameful thing, and that was back in the 1800s or something,
Yeah.
1700s?
Yeah.
Yeah, something like
So
that.
long ago. Yeah.
So, but society adopted that. So if when women were caught as adulteresses, they referred to maybe she should wear the scarlet letter, and it just it kind of grew, and then it died and came back and died. Just like the terms narcissistic and all the terms that we banter around today in social media. So just I think it's a clever title. So good luck with that. I
Thank
think
you.
I
Thank you.
binged 3 episodes today as much as I could between traffic and
Aw,
lunch. And yeah, it was great. The
thanks.
episode you had on with the woman, and I forget her name, but the narcissism, what a
Mhm.
great
Laura,
episode.
thank
Wow.
you.
And
Thank
I
you.
identify with that because my last girlfriend was all about that, and I will never call her a narcissist, but she was on the spectrum, and it
Mhm.
really, really identified with me. As a matter of fact, I might steal her from you to come on the show.
She's
So,
lovely. I
yeah,
I met her through a, community that we both happened to join at the same time, and we just really hit it off, and I
great.
loved her story, and so, yeah, that's actually one of my most downloaded episodes,
I see.
so it's
I
like,
can see
I feel
why.
like it's a positive, but it's also makes me sad because I know so many people are dealing with that, but her biggest hope with sharing all of that was, "Hey, if this helps one person feel less alone, if this helps one person feel like there's someone else who went through it too, then, like, I'm more than happy to share."
Yeah. And that's the first episode that I went to listen to because as I was scanning them, I saw narcissism. And while I'm in season 4 and I've done a whole season on narcissism basically because I had to
Mm,
when I was dissecting my last relationship, I wanted to understand narcissism, so I had a whole bunch of narcissistic professional PhDs, doctors, and all those, and to explain it. And everybody's got their own point of view and their own take on it, but it's a spectrum, and there's an NPD, and all of us are narcissistics in one way. We're at the very low end of this. So a normal person, we're all narcissists if you
mhm.
look at the mental health world, we're on a spectrum, but you and I are all the way down here. So like here, toothpick. Okay, so you and I are
Yeah.
down here, but the people that we're dating or the stories that we're hearing are over here. So for
Mhm.
those on YouTube, that's a toothpick. We will be on YouTube. So
I
uh,
love it.
okay, all right. Let's get into a little bit more of you. So I I know you are vulnerable. You do have a whole episode on your podcast. You come right out and talk about the affair,
Mhm.
and uh, kudos to you because
Thank you.
that took a lot of bravery, I'm sure. And you probably got. Did you get hate letters and hate mail and
I would say it probably was the worst on YouTube, but it's still, because it was a brand new show, and I'm not already I don't have a large following already. So, it was
so?
more people seeing it and hearing it kind of organically, which I love because it got me a lot of views, a lot of followers. Um, so yeah, I mean, I definitely got some negativity. I think from people that are actually within my grand circle. Some people were like, "Wait, are you sure you really want to do this? Like, have you thought
Oh
about
yeah.
like any sort of potential negativity that could come your way?" And then I also know that there's a lot of chatter behind my back amongst people who know me, whether it was from high school, college, post college, whatever. I mean, it was interesting seeing at the time I was paying for LinkedIn at the time, and even people who were looking at my LinkedIn page gave me a chuckle. But yeah, I mean, here's why I did that. I did it number 1 like for myself because I was like, this story is such a huge part of my journey, and I didn't realize how much it was actually holding me back, even though my close friends knew about it, my family knew about it. But I'm really, really determined to build a great community. And I felt in order to do that, people need to trust me. So,
You got to
what's a
open
better
up.
way to
Absolutely.
make people trust you by telling them your deepest, darkest secret on day
Yep.
1?
Yep. Yep. That's kinda what I did. When I opened up the
Mm,
podcast, I just came right out of the gate and I said, "This is what happened to me," and
mhm,
I felt like a simp. I felt like the man who couldn't, that he was allowed a woman to walk all over him and cheat on him, and he stayed. There's a lot of, again, there's a whole bunch of pill movements and MGTOW movements. A lot of guys shamed me for like, dude, grow a set of balls and grow up and walk
mhm,
away.
yeah,
You said something in your episode is like when you're in the grasp of that, when you're in the midst of it, you're not
mhm,
thinking clearly. You're not thinking logically, rationally. You know it's
right,
wrong. You know it's something you shouldn't be doing. And you said it. I heard you say it. And you'll never do it again. But in the
mhm,
moment, it felt right for you, even though you wanted to leave, you couldn't leave. So I felt the same way. I was smack in the middle of this relationship. She was cheating on me. She would come over here. I'd see her vagina was inflamed. and she'd run into the shower and spend an hour in the shower cleaning herself up, and then come into the bedroom and go, "You can't have intercourse with me today, but we'll do other things." So,
Hmm.
and I'm like, "Is that because you were up having sex all night with somebody else?" "Oh, no, no, no." She would gaslight me, and
Oh,
I stayed in that relationship for almost another year with the same gaslighting, lying, and cheating and deceitfulness. And people were like shaming me
no,
for
don't
that.
do
But
this.
I came on
Internet,
this
don't do
podcast and I
this.
said, unless you
No.
walk in my shoes, those and that moment, you don't know what it's like. And you
I
did
mean,
the same
living,
thing.
oh man,
A- And let's tell
come
the audience,
on.
and to my
Don't do
audience, I
this.
have
We were
never
so
divulged this
good.
to you.
We were doing
So
so good.
Nikki was the other woman.
I'll
That's
laugh
kind
if
of
all of
like
this is
her
still getting recorded and I'm
tagline
just
in her
like,
podcast, right? Am I correct?
oh, it must be
You
this
froze
internet.
up again.
God
We're going to
damn
have
it.
to split this again. Well, I'm going to keep talking quickly. I also had I was the other man in a marriage.
Good to know that this.
Um, I dated a woman who was married. I shouldn't say dated. I was having an affair with a woman who was married. And that went on for 2 years, and that was a long time ago before my sobriety. So, Nikki's having some audio trouble, so I'm waiting for her to come back. But, Nikki, if you listen to her podcast, she talks about when you're in the midst of it, it's wrong, you're not supposed to do it. And then a couple of people asked her about, did you think of the wife? Did you think of the husband, the man that she was cheating with, the affair? Did you think of her wife? And she said no. She never thought of her once, and neither did I. I never thought about the husband once. So, it's unless you walk in those shoes, try not to judge people if they go through something that's against society's norms. So cheating and adultery and affairs, or drug abuse or alcoholism, things that kind of rub against what society deems right and wrong. But unless you're walking in those shoes, you don't know what it's like for that person. And I've had it both sides. I was the cheater and I was the cheatee. And neither were anything I would want to wish against my worst enemy. Well, maybe I could think of one or two people I would wish that upon. But no, seriously. Okay. I am waiting for Nikki to come back. We were talking about her podcast and her vulnerability, and I am going to try to pause this and see if we can get her back.
Okay. I don't know. Oh, we're still recording. Great. Uh-oh. Now.
No, that's me.
Oh, no.
I muted myself.
Oh, okay. No, no, no.
I kept recording in case you came back, because
Oh,
this way the
good.
edit will be much cleaner.
Yeah. No, I'm glad you did. I rebooted the entire router and I'm hoping that that will solve my problem.
Okay. Well, we're
So,
21 minutes in, so we got another 20 minutes to go, and then we can wrap it up.
let's do it. Come on.
I don't remember I think we were talking about you getting were you getting any bad feedback from
Oh,
sharing your
yeah.
story?
I did talk about how I had got some negativity from YouTube. YouTube was kind of the
Yeah.
worst, right?
Okay.
There's just so many people with trolls, and the comments have been. I think I did all. I think I went through all that. Yeah.
Yeah, and while you were gone, I talked to the audience and told them that I also was the other guy, which my audience doesn't know. My audience, the loyal ones that have been with me for years, know my whole story, but I never told that story, that I was the other man. I had an affair with a married woman who was, and funny, I was younger, and she was like my sugar mama. She had a lot of
Ooh.
money. And
Uh-huh.
yeah, I was her boy toy, and she would fly me around the country, and we would go to Atlantic City and Las Vegas, and she loved to gamble. And her husband
Okay.
made good money, and she just took out the credit card. And anyway, it was horrible because it all came crumbling down. So while the affair was going on, it was like, of course, I was getting laid and having fun, and that was during my alcoholic days. But
Mhm.
the whole thing came crashing down one night, just overnight, and it just blew up, and I was devastated and yada, 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 just probably very much like you did. And we went no contact too. I think you went no contact, right? You talked about that. So,
Yep.
okay.
Yeah, it is
So
always weird when things end because they kind of like don't ever imagine. I don't know. It wasn't planned. I wasn't expecting when
no,
I woke up that day, that wasn't my plan. And then that's
that
how the
wasn't
day
the
ended.
plan.
And I was like, okay, well, this is done.
The last relationship I had, the day she came over to help me clean the house, and then we were gonna go out and have a it was a nice day. We were gonna go do something. That was the last day I saw her, and it didn't. That wasn't the way it was supposed to go, you know. So
Yeah.
it does happen. Um, let's see. I did have a couple of other questions for you, and then
Of course.
I like sure you can open it up and talk about anything you'd like to talk about how you help other people because you are a relationship coach. But you and earlier you were talking about having a safe space. I think you have a Patreon space now where women can come
Yeah.
in and okay, you can talk about that.
Yeah. Cool.
Um, but what gave you? This was one of your questions. I know what prompted me to come on and be vulnerable. What prompted you to come? You already had a podcast, but what's it? What something inside you said, I have to get my story out there, and I need to go. No, you could have written a blog and hide and hid behind that. You could have done so many different types of just different types of things today, but you chose a podcast and YouTube to come out, show your face, and say, yes, I was the a fair woman in a marriage and yet the other woman. And what prompted you and did it help you?
So, what prompted me? Oh, shoot. Hold on. The TV just turned on. Let me turn it off.
Okay. We're not having fun today with any luck with this.
Okay. So, let me here's what prompted me to start the Scarlet Edit and to share the story that I did. I had been feeling for quite some time that this relationship was such a big part of my journey. And while my family knew about it and my close friends knew about it, that was really all. And as I was trying to figure out how I could best give back to the world, I got to thinking that this story had to play some sort of role. So I at first was thinking, maybe it is some sort of speaker topic that I could do, and I could go and talk at women's events or conferences or retreats. And then as this year kind of kept moving forward, I was in a program called the Brand Edit. And it was about personal branding, about business branding. And the first 2 weeks, I was actually pretty frustrated as I was going through it because the other women that were in it, it was like they were all very clear, like, this is my business. This is my business. This is what I do. And I was like, well, I have this podcast and I really love it and blah, blah, blah. But then I was also, from a business perspective, I was like, what exactly am I really passionate about? So I had started talking to them about this subject, and then one day I got off the weekly sync up, and I was just like, wait a minute, this is what I need to do. I need to turn it into a podcast. So I did, and I just decided to put it all out there.
And it works. I'm telling you, folks. I listen when I have a guest on. I've had a guest 4 nights this week because I took the summer off, so now I'm all booked up.
Mm,
I'd like to do a little dive into my guests before they come on. And some of them have podcasts, but I don't have the time to listen to podcasts. There was something about Nikki's podcast, not just her artwork and the way you put it nicely together, and she's got a nice website. When I listened to the narcissist episode, listen, you got to tell your story about your yoga retreat.
oh gosh, yeah, yeah.
I
That
found
was
that
a
I was laughing in the car. So, so
I
let me
love
just
it.
finish. Her
Mhm.
podcast is great. I want my audience to go check her out, especially the women, because she's really here for the women. But guys, you might get something out of it too. I got something out of it. So, but she told the story about she went on this yoga retreat because she was getting divorced and the papers were coming through, right? And they were going to be signed that week, and you didn't want to be there. So one
Yep.
of your friends talked you into going to a yoga retreat in the jungle. Take it from there.
Yeah. So I decided I didn't want to be just sitting in my apartment by myself when the divorce was final. So I had been looking into different retreats and I found this company that did all these cool yoga retreats in all these different countries. And I thought, oh my God, that sounds so much fun. I love it. I love to travel. Like, let's figure it out. So I booked myself on this yoga retreat that was down in Panama. I went a couple of days early because I wanted to go to the Panama Canal and explore Panama City. And then everyone flew in and we went down to the island Bocas del Toro. Beautiful island, very jungle like, very lush. And we took over this whole resort. I think there was maybe one room that wasn't our group. And it wasn't very big, it was small. So, right by the water, it was just stunning. So, there was this tree house, and that was where we did yoga. And I had no idea when I signed up for this that it was gonna be yoga twice a day. I was like, "Okay, whatever, I'll just roll with it." So, the first night, we're up in this tree house. It's beautiful. You can hear, like, the monkeys playing in the trees, and the sun was setting, and it was birds chirping. It's beautiful weather. And so the host of the retreat, she's going around and she's asking everybody, like, tell us about yourself and your yoga practice. And I'm like, yoga practice? What? So then every single person as they go around the room, and I was almost dead last, everybody. Oh, well, I'm from Atlanta and I go to blah 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 yoga and I usually go about like 4 or 5 days a week and I've been doing yoga. I've been practicing yoga for 6 years or whatever. And I'm sitting there being like, I don't even know when the last time I went to a yoga class was, but I promise you it was at least over a year ago. So it got to me and I just was honest with everyone. I was like, "Oh, yeah, so I don't do yoga as much as you guys. I haven't been to a class in about over a year, and my divorce is gonna be final in a few days, and I just didn't wanna be home." And they were all so wonderful and welcoming, and it was truly a magical week, but it was very funny to realize that people that go to yoga retreats are very serious
Serious.
yogis.
It's not a vacation or like a
Yeah.
Disney cruise. No, they're there for a reason, yeah. But
Totally.
I heard that and I was laughing in the car. My son, I carpool with my son and he had his earbuds in and he hears me rolling, like laughing, and I
Oh.
was like, Dad goes, "What are you laughing at?" I'm like, "You never understand."
That's great.
Um,
Well, thank you for the compliments, and thank you for
yeah, no,
listening.
I listen, I loved it. I really did. Um, Here's a question. Look, we're gonna lean into a little bit of what my podcast deals about because my podcast is about the digital dating, modern
Mhm,
dating today. It's a
mhm.
mess. I don't know if you're
Yeah.
remarried or if you're single, if you got a boyfriend. Are you dating?
I am single, and I have not been on a date in over a year.
I can almost match you with that, except I am single and I have it's been about 6 months since I've been on a real date. If you call just a meet and greet, but so um
Yeah.
But anyway, the reason I'd like to know why you're not. The reason I'm not is because, for example, this morning I woke up and I got a response from somebody on one of my dating apps, and it
Mhm,
was somebody I liked and I matched, and she matched back with me, and I was like, "Oh, very cool." And she just matched with me, did not send me a text message. But I sent
mhm.
her one. I said, "Good morning. Thank you." Something about matching. And
Yeah.
she looked like she was having a lot of fun in her profile. A lot of
Mhm.
laughing and a lot of dancing and just some good pictures. And I said, "It looks like you really enjoy life." And that's how I left it.
Yeah.
Crickets. I mean,
Aw.
nothing. There's nothing. And this is
Yeah,
what but that's the norm.
it
Nobody
is.
answers. So why do you swiping back or why are you matching with me if you're not going to follow up with me? What are you finding?
So it's funny that you asked this because just a few days ago, well, first of all, I haven't been dating because I have spent the most of the last year traveling, and I was really prioritizing myself and seeing other parts of the world. So dating just wasn't really high on the list of priorities. Now,
You took
just a
care of
few days
yourself.
ago, yeah, and it's been phenomenal. I mean, it's been probably the best year of my life, actually. Um, Now that being said, just a few days ago, I did download a dating app, and it has been incredibly lackluster. I mean, similar to what you said. So, I mean, I will admit that I am fairly old-fashioned. I do like, a more traditional style of dating. So I don't know. I there was one guy, I found him very handsome. I liked one of his pictures. He matched with me and he said thanks. And I was like, "And? Like, is it that hard to say how are you? Is it that
They can't
hard
put 2
to
words together. I don't
ask
get
a
it.
follow-on question?" I mean, I'm not just I don't know. So I thought that was strange. Yeah, I mean, overall, I just feel like it's very, very lackluster.
I've been trying to figure out for the better part of this year. So this podcast used to be called the Anonymous Andrew Podcast because it was really all about my story, and it evolved over the years because that story is 3 years old, and I got to move on, right? So I
Mhm.
moved on. I learned how to live in my skin. I forgave myself. Time to, and then it started dating, and the dating scene is a mess. It's disgusting, and it, you're going to find out if you paid for this app or not. Whatever you did with this app, you're going to experience the most bizarre stuff. And
Mhm.
so you use the word old fashioned. Me too. I like to court my women. I like to pursue them. I don't want them to be too aggressive, but you could tease me a little bit or give me a little bit flirt here and there, but
Mhm.
help me
Yeah.
out. But um, I'm finding women today are, especially a little bit closer to my age, are more self-sufficient. They
Mhm.
have their husbands and thems have divorced, and the kids are out of the house, so and they have a lot of money, and they don't need a man. They just don't
Mhm.
need a man. I'm finding I actually met a woman not too long ago. I got to be very careful because she sometimes listens, but she doesn't. We're very good friends, and we played together some sports, but she doesn't want to date. And I asked her why, and she said, "I don't need to. I have all the money I need. I have a house in Florida, and a house here,
Mhm.
and I come and go as I please. Why do I want to put a ball and chain around my ankle?" Basically, something like that. And I'm
Mm.
finding that answer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I don't
you
feel
kind of
that way.
twist your head. You kind of twist
Well,
your
yeah,
head
because
there.
I mean, I don't feel that way as far as I don't view a man as a ball and chain or as a negative. But I do agree that I've built a really great life for myself. So I know what I want someone to come along and add value to that. So
Value
I
to
think that
okay.
I'm likely more discerning than I was, a couple of years ago. And now this isn't my first go around on a dating app. When I've been on and off them for the last few years, but I feel like it's it's always the same. It's just a lot of
Yep,
nothing.
yep.
And so it makes me wonder, why are people even on there unless they aren't, don't really want to meet someone, but yeah,
Hookups, there's the first of
I
all, you got hookups,
guess. Ugh.
scams, either
Yes,
romance
scams.
scams or they're looking
Mhm.
for maybe not in your case, but men or women are looking for sugar daddies. I mean, this that we could sit there and make a list of what is going on
Yeah.
out there. And but from what I'm finding, it's just not the same as it used to be. I would rather meet somebody in the real world that I'm trying to.
Same.
I've set up a thing that I do every weekend where I meet women l- locally, organically in the shopping center and the pickleball. And I shouldn't say struggling. I'm getting phone numbers, but even them, I'll tell you a little, not a secret, but if you go back and look at some of my podcasts just from a month ago, I had
Mhm.
long hair, very long hair.
Oh, okay.
And it was a brand of mine, and, uh, people were telling me, "You gotta cut your hair, you gotta cut your hair." I'm gonna show you the picture of it, and so I finally cut my hair, and because I figured that was probably what was causing. Let's see if it's here. Okay, it's not gonna find it now, but just imagine me with long hair, and
Mhm.
go to my YouTube channel or go to my Instagram profile, you'll see it. I actually put a picture up of it. So, but I figured maybe the long hair, maybe the women weren't looking for guys with long hair in his 60s.
Yeah.
It doesn't
Yeah.
you either like that kind of look, the rock and roll the old 60s rock and
Mhm.
roll look, but I cut it. And I'm trying to see if that makes a difference. So, okay, we got a few minutes left. Let's
Yeah.
Do you see anything? One more question, and then I'm going to give you the floor to just sell yourself and tell us
All right.
what you want my audience, where do you want them to go, and all that. Do you think the hookup culture that is out there today, that's on Tinder, which started it, and now has
Mhm.
overflooded to all the other dating apps, that the younger generation, why get involved in financial, and if you could just meet and get laid and then go your separate ways, and meet once or twice a week, get laid, maybe hang out and go to the movies, but no commitments. I think the hookup culture is changing the dating landscape. What say you?
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with that. I think like with, situationships and it's like people don't wanna go all in because I don't know, I feel like the dating apps have made it so we're always looking for the next best thing. So it's like,
Mhm.
"Oh, well, this person's pretty or this guy's handsome, and I'm talking to her or I'm talking to him, but what if there's someone better if I keep swiping?" And I
There are
think that's
better
so
options.
yeah, and that's so sad because I mean, I'm totally resonate with what you said. Like, I would 10 times rather meet somebody out in the wild, catch someone's eye from across the room and,
Isn't that great?
kind of
It's
feel
kinda
that
like,
little like
yeah.
excitement. Because also too, I mean, I will tell you, like, I do not believe that I am the most photogenic woman. I think I am much prettier in person. So sometimes I feel like men are the same way, like, or maybe they're taking like horrible selfies. Like my brother, years ago, he met some woman on a dating app and they were enjoying each other's company. And she told him, she was like, she goes, I'm so glad I decided to meet you because your pictures are so bad, but you're so good looking in
He said
person.
that.
And he was like, oh, okay, thanks. But yeah, it's just, and you also, you get somebody's energy. And I think one of the things too that's unfortunate about dating apps is that whether we realize it or not, we create a version of that person based on their photos and based on their responses. And then when we eventually meet them in person, it's almost like we're setting ourselves up for
Yeah.
disappointment because that person
Disappointment.
isn't going to be what we've created. So I don't know. So I think that the whole situationship thing is just it's tough because I think that it is very rare to find two people who are physically attracted to each other where they want to like hook up, have sex, hook up a few times a week or once a week, whatever it may be, and that they both can honestly say, I would not want to date that person. I think usually there's one person that
Right?
catches feelings and
Right.
then you just end up getting your heart broken because you had set it up from the beginning. Oh, this is just for fun. We're just going to bang. But then you end up getting feelings and then you get just absolutely destroyed because
Yeah.
the other
So
person is still like,
they're
no, I
onto
just want to fuck
something.
you.
They're onto something because that would prevent you from getting hurt. But in the meantime, and this is going to sound silly, I'm not paranoid because I won't be around in 25 years. But like, if these young people keep doing this, and marriage dies and we don't procreate, the population is going to suffer
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
I don't know, 200 years. Back in 1960, and earlier, we had the baby boom because of the war
Hmm.
and all that. I think we're headed to the opposite. The baby bottom falls out. Whatever you want to call
Hmm.
that
Yeah.
syndrome. Okay. Wow. There's so much more we could talk about. And by the way, disagree about your pictures. I've looked at your
Oh,
pictures on
thank
Podmatch. I've
you.
seen them on your website. I've seen them on Instagram,
Thank you.
and of course, I'm looking at you right now, virtually live. And you're as beautiful as, but I have not met you in person, so that's the only
Well,
thing I
thank
can't.
you. I appreciate that. I
You,
will say the photos on my website, the photographer, this gal, I swear, she brings life out of people and she has a way of just
good,
getting
good
your
photographer.
essence to come out of you because that day, I will say this, I was feeling terrible. I almost didn't do the photo shoot, but I said, "No, you're here. You really need pictures. Just get ready and do it." So I got ready and I just said, "I don't care that I'm not feeling 100%." And then when I got the photos back, I was thinking if I could just get 2, if there could just be 2, and there was probably 50. And I was like, Katie, you are a freaking superstar.
She's skilled at what she does, and I used to
Yeah.
be in photography years ago. Not that kind. I did wedding photography, but um,
Mhm.
yeah, it's skilled to get someone to really become vibrant for that camera and
Mhm.
be
Yeah.
lively. So, Nikki, tell the audience where we can find you. Talk a little bit about your practice, what you hope to accomplish, and talk to the women because I think your audience is
Yeah.
really the women. And then we'll say
Awesome.
goodbye.
Well, thank you so much. So, yeah, my podcast is called The Scarlet Edit. I release a new episode every Thursday, and sometimes I'll do bonus episodes, solo episodes. But I've had a lot of great guests so far. I mean, so far, like Andrew mentioned, I had a woman come on and talk about her experience in a narcissistic relationship. We've talked about midlife dating. I've had men's relationship coach on, a women's relationship coach on. I'm getting ready
Yeah,
to drop an
Jonathan Ashley
episode.
on.
Yeah,
Yep,
he's
I
so
know John.
cool. What a great guy.
What a great guy. I know John very well. Yep,
Oh,
very
that's
great guy. Yep,
awesome.
yep.
Yeah, and then I've got a woman coming up, we recorded it last week. She's been divorced 3 times, so talk about someone who's faces
Yeah.
judgment.
Wow.
We had a lovely conversation. I've got more people coming on to talk to me about divorce, about affairs, all sorts of topics, so I'm absolutely loving it, so I would love to continue to get some more ears on the show. Yeah, otherwise you can find all the ways to listen, everything else about me at my website. You can go to nikki-corbett.com, or to even make it easier than that, you can go to thescarletedit.com, and they both go to the same place. And I would love to
Okay.
hear from many of you.
And I want my audience to go check her out. She's beautiful. She's talented. She is the Scarlet Edit, and she's got a space for women that she does not judge. So, ladies in my audience, if you got stuck in that situation where you're the other woman, or any situation that you feel as if you can't talk to somebody, come see Nikki because she will help you out. She's got a no judgment zone, and she's a relationship coach, and she's a great podcaster. And I hope to maybe have you back one day. I think
Yeah,
you're
I would
great.
love that. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. This has been so fun. I totally enjoyed it.
Despite the technical difficulty, we got it done.
Despite the technical difficulties, we got it done. Yes.
All right. All right, Nikki. Thank you for joining us tonight.
You're welcome.
Okay. Bye bye.